This is P.J.C. 2.0, and this is my 2025 Halloween model kit builds. Now this year I will be building this Godzilla kit that I found on eBay, and I've never seen this kit before, so that's one of the reasons I got it. And I will be doing something different with this one. I'll be molding these back plates in clear resin so I can light them. And the second kit I will be building is the Mothman. And I've been fascinated with the story of the Mothman since I first heard it, and he's become one of my favorite cryptid creatures. And I will also be molding his eyes in clear resin, because everybody who's heard the story knows Mothman has red glowing eyes. Now here is the mold making material I will be using to mold Godzilla's backplates and Mothman's eyes. And before I even try, I'm going to do some testing. I've already made some molds using these metal Star Trek emblems. I made 2 molds, and if you're wondering why they're red, it's because I used this red dye that I'm going to use when I cast the Mothman's eyes. And here is Godzilla's back plates all glued down, so when I pour the silicone rubber in there, they'll stay in place. And Mothman's eyes, it's the same deal. I wanted Mothman's eyes to be in a separate mold, so I put 2 extra pieces of styrene around them. And the mold itself is just basically a foam core box, all hot glued and taped together. And when I pour the silicone rubber in there, I'm gonna hope for the best. Alright, I've mixed together the 2 parts. Now let's pour this silicone into the mold. And oh no, I was afraid of that. Oh, while I was testing this mold material, I may have used too much, because all of these back plates, they're not totally covered in this stuff. Most of the smaller ones are, but some of the larger ones aren't. I won't know until this stuff dries and I've had a real good look at it. But it doesn't look like it's a total loss. I mean, not all the spikes were covered in this silicone mold, but most of them were, but they were mostly the smaller ones. Some of the larger ones, they didn't get totally covered, so I might have to make another mold for them, which means I have to order some more of this silicone mold making material. I think this time I'm going to order some of the larger bottles. Okay, here's the mold. And it looks like some of the smaller Godzilla back plates, they turned out alright. The larger ones, not so much. So I just went ahead and cut them out because they weren't going to be used anyway. So once I'm done testing this mold out, I'm going to make a new mold for the larger Godzilla back plates. And once the 2-part mold making material I ordered comes in, I'm going to try to make the mold of the larger back plates again. Only this time I'm going to make the mold a little bit smaller. Alright, the 2-part resin material is mixed, and I'm going to use this injector to inject the resin into the mold. Now I'm going to have to do this slowly, so which means I gotta do each one at a time until I get all of them filled in. Alright, this is the last one, and all of them are filled in. I'm going to squeeze them a little bit and make sure the resin's getting into every corner. And then I'm going to hit it with a small torch to get all the air bubbles out of the resin. And then I'm just going to leave it alone until each one of these spikes is cured enough to take them out of the mold. And then we'll see how they turned out. Alright, now here's the new mold for the larger Godzilla back plates. I'm getting ready to take it out. And here is the mold for the Mothman's eyes. Alright, now I'm just removing the spikes. And then once I got all that done, I'm going to mix up some resin, pour it in, and I'm not going to touch it until it's at least 2 days to fully cure. Alright, now I'm just taking Mothman's eyes out of the mold. And then once I've done that, I'm going to mix up some resin, pour in some of the red dye, and then just carefully pour the resin into the mold. Alright, now I'm mixing up the 2-part resin. And how I do this is basically simple. Just mix up the resin, pour in the dye, and stir, mix it thoroughly, and once it's ready, you just pour it into the mold. And because Mothman's eyes are so small, I mixed up more than I needed. But I have other molds I can use this resin in, so it's not a big deal. But this resin takes hours to cure, so I won't be able to take the Mothman's eyes out of the mold until the next day. Now what you see me taking out of the mold for the Godzilla backplates is the second batch that I've made. The first batch did not turn out so well. It had too many flaws in it, and the resin just did not get all the way into the mold. The second batch I made, I mixed in a little blue, as you'll see in a moment. Now here are the back plates. And like I said, I mixed in a drop of blue with the resin. Give it a kind of bluish tinge. Now, these 4 did not turn out so good. But that's not a big deal, I can always make more. And I've already mixed up resin for the larger plates. And now I'm just waiting for them to dry.